1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 2025 sucked. I was going to make a whole video about this. I did a post at the end of the year on my Patreon and camaraderie where I just sort of ran through all of my feelings about 2025 and why it sucked and why a lot of people think it sucked. I was surprised by the reception that it got because it felt to me like I was just sort of vomiting my own feelings out into the universe for no particular reason. It's always nice to find out that there was a reason. So I was going to turn that into a video. I copied all the text over into a document, and I was going to edit it and turn it into a whole thing. And then we went to Venezuela and kidnapped the president of Venezuela. And I thought, wow, there's no point in talking about how much 2025 sucked because 2026 is going to be just as bad in its own hilarious and fun ways. So I decided to take that energy from that video and just turn it in a completely different direction and focus instead on the things that didn't suck in 2025. We're talking movies, shows, games, anime, music, other stuff too, probably. I've just sort of put together a bunch of things that I remember having watched or having come out in 2025, and I'm just going to talk about them in the order in which I wrote them down. We're just going to go through, and if there's particular omissions from what would be your list of things that didn't suck in 2025, make your own video. Number 1, Wake Up Dead Man, Knives Out 3. I'm going to make a whole video about Knives Out 3. I've got a whole DaVinci Resolve project open where I've been analyzing the film. I think it's gorgeous. A lot of fun. Maybe the best in the trilogy. It repairs Glass Onion for me. At least half of my video is going to be about comparisons between all three of the films. I like that Knives Out has just become my beat. It just seems like my Knives Out video is fairly popular, and that's just become the thing that people know me for, is the person who has opinions about Rian Johnson's murder mystery movies, which is fine because I like Rian Johnson as a director. I'm happy to be associated with that as opposed to any number of other things. But we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the Phoenician scheme. I saw this at the Egyptian. Did I see this at the Egyptian? The theater in Capitol Hill, Seattle, which recently closed due to water damage. I can't remember where I saw this. I think it was the Egyptian. This is totally pointless. It's not as good as Asteroid City, which has become my personal favorite Wes Anderson, but it's fun. It's a really fun movie. It's an interesting movie. I think everybody who complains about Wes Anderson just having his own style and doing the same thing over and over is totally off base. I think his late career stuff has been so dynamic and so interesting, and I can see a lot of ways in which he is challenging himself as a director. I don't know, I think people are mad at him for having an established style, but like if he was Stanley Kubrick, everybody would be like, woo, yeah, do the same thing again. Is it because Wes Anderson doesn't abuse his performers? If Wes Anderson was the one who made The Shining and he didn't abuse Shelley Duvall on the set of The Shining, do you think people would hate that movie because it didn't traumatize a woman in the process of it being made? Anyway, we're going to move on to The Brutalist. I saw The Brutalist somewhere. Maybe I saw that at the Egyptian. The Egyptian closed. It's sad. SIF had opened the Egyptian. It's an old storied theater, and everybody was very excited to have it open again. And then a water main burst, and there was a lot of damage, and they closed it down temporarily to try to fix it. And then it turns out repairs were way too costly, so SIF had to divest, and now it seems like it's probably going to be closed forever, which is sad because that theater was cool. I saw the TV glow at the Egyptian. Jane Schoenbrunn was there, and that was pretty cool. The seats were really uncomfortable. I'm so sad that it's going away. Anyway, The Brutalist. This was a 7-hour movie. This was a 15-hour film that is good for a 322-hour movie. I say it felt pretty quick, pretty fast compared to most other 4,000-hour movies I've seen. No, it's good. I think it's one of those ones that either we're going to be talking about for a long time or we're not going to be talking about for a long time. Isn't that just every movie? Every movie falls into one of those two categories. Okay, well, I just said nothing about The Brutalist. I liked it well enough. I came out of it not sure how I felt on the whole. I need to rewatch it, but it is in many respects sort of an unpleasant film. I find it visually scrumptious. Adrian Brody did a good job playing the same role he's played in like every movie he's won an Oscar for. So that's good for him. He's had a lot of practice. Yeah, it's an interesting movie. I really liked all the architecture stuff. Not brutalism, but that's fine. Who cares? It's America. We don't believe in things. It's worth watching. It didn't really leave a huge impression on me, if I'm going to be completely perfectly honest. I think it's maybe a little bit overrated, but it's fine. Predator Badlands. Now here's a good movie. Oh, what? You like pretentious, period accurate post-Holocaust drama? Fuck you. Here's a stupid, dumb cartoon movie about an alien fighting aliens in an alien planet. So yeah, this is Predator Badlands. Also Predator Killer of Killers. Both of these came out in 2025, both directed by Dan Trachtenberg, who also directed Prey, as you can see right there from the director of Prey. I quite liked these movies. Predator Badlands in particular made me realize that we're having a whole entire ass resurgence of the sword and sorcery genre in Hollywood right now, between like this and Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes and Furiosa and like a bunch of other movies that once I started noticing the trends, I realized, oh shit, all of this is just sword and sorcery. We've just reinvented sword and sorcery from first principles. I made a list on Letterboxd. I'll post it in the comments or something. Anyway, this was a lot of fun. It's got some humor in it. It's got sort of a quippy side character that I find a little bit annoying. It veers right up against the edge of a bunch of tropes that a Predator movie has absolutely no right approaching at all. And yet it does, and I would say it does so successfully, and the movie as a result is pretty good. It's a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun watching it. Good action, really great visuals. Killer of Killers, apparently the first animated film in theaters that was done in Unreal Engine, so that's pretty cool. I really like the conceit of this, where it's 3 unrelated shorts about people encountering a predator at various points in world history. It's fine. It's good. It's enjoyable. Each of the 3 parts is fun. The one with the World War II guy is probably the weakest. Yeah, it's the weakest. It's definitely the weakest, but it's okay. It was still a fun movie. I highly recommend all 3 of Trachtenberg's Predator movies. It's amazing that he is as good at that as he is. He's sort of like the James Gunn of Predator, which is pretty cool. Now, this would be a great time for me to transition into talking about James Gunn's Superman, but instead we're going to talk about 28 Years Later. So this is the sequel to 28 Days Later that I rolled my eyes at from a distance. I thought, this is gonna be crap. This looks like crap. Look at this stupid bone thing. Look at this. Look at this crap. Oh, this is gonna be such edgelord bullshit. And then I watched it, and it's good, and I liked it a lot, actually. Oh no, I hate that I liked it. I really hate that I liked it, but I did. I hate that there are franchise movies that I like that are coming out in this decade. It's really pissing me off. It's really making it hard for me to be cool and aloof and better than popular things. I don't love it unreservedly, to be clear. The first, 30 minutes of this movie is just a video game tutorial. It's kind of insulting how much it is just a video game tutorial, but there are moments. There are moments spread around where interesting things are happening. There's thematic subject matter that's being hinted at. And then there comes a point where the sort of basic setup from the beginning is abandoned, and it's just the main character and his mom in the wilderness by themselves. And from that point on, for the most part, I basically liked everything that was in the movie. I loved how dreamy it got. This one is also 28 Years Later. This is also sword and sorcery. I loved how ethereal it got, how it felt at times like the rage virus was such a huge scar on the collective psyche of the physical area that it frayed the boundaries between the real and the metaphysical itself. And then you get to the Bone Temple, and I don't want to tell you what the deal is with the Bone Temple. You got to watch the movie for yourself, but it's so much more interesting than it has any right to be. It's actually beautiful and poetic and fascinating, and exactly the kind of thing that I always want to see in a post-apocalypse movie. It reminded me of Station 11, which is a fantastic one-season television show. I talked about it a decent amount in my video called The Lost Art of Flashbacks, and the Bone Temple is something that could exist in the Station 11 universe, and I think that's awesome. I have no idea what to expect of the sequel. I guess I'm going to go see it because I liked this one, and supposedly it's meant to be the first of a trilogy. But whatever, I liked this one well enough. The stuff with the Bone Temple and with Ray Fiennes is that's worth the cost of admission alone. Anyway, now we're going to James Gunn's Superman. I'm working on a video. Oh boy, I'm promising a lot at the start of this one, aren't I already? I'm working on a video about the authorial signatures of James Gunn between Peacemaker and Creature Commandos and Superman and probably the Guardians movies. I'll take a look at the Guardians movies. I mostly want to focus on his DC output because I find the Suicide Squad. I just find that between these four properties, there's a lot of really interesting overlaps in his habits as a storyteller, and I think that they indicate a lot of what's interesting about him as a filmmaker and why he's a good fit for the DC universe. I like Superman a lot. I think I like it slightly less than I did when I saw it in theaters, but I still like it. It's got some great characters. I love Eddie Gathegi as Mr. Terrific. He's terrific. I bet nobody's made that joke. There's just a lot of good stuff in the Superman movie. I like that Hawk Girl kills Benjamin Netanyahu. No, that's a parody. There's so much discourse about Superman. Do you really need me to add more discourse to Superman? No. Let's talk about John Wick Ballerina instead. So this is the John Wick spin-off movie Ballerina, which takes place during / after John Wick 3, where this is about the ballerina that we see in John Wick 3 whenever he goes to the church opera place and does his thing to go to Casablanca. So Ballerina is almost a good movie. It is held back by the fact that it is afraid to be just a standalone movie. And this is particularly true whenever it gets to the part where the ballerina and John Wick have to face off. Of course they have to face off. Come on. He's in the poster. He's in the movie. If he's in the movie, they're going to have to fight. That's how it goes. Fuck you if you think that's spoilers. They really pull their punches. They really don't. I don't know. It feels like the film is not confident in its ability to sell her as a competent John Wick person in her own right. But that said, it has a lot of fun stuff. There's a flamethrower duel that I thought was pretty fun. There's some good fight bits. It's like any John Wick movie. Are you going there for the plot? Not really. You're going there for the wish list of stuntmen action set pieces that they're using this as an excuse to explore. And in that sense, it's cool. I'd probably watch it again with a friend. It has good bits. It has some fun bits. The plot does revolve around a village that is just 100% populated by basically German Nazis. It's like a eugenicist child soldier factory that's pretending to be a quaint Dutch tourist town. It's awesome. That whole sequence is fantastic and worth the price of admission. I don't know. There's a lot of redeeming qualities in this film. It's let down by some of it. Also, it's got Norman Reedus in it. And he doesn't get to do enough, in my opinion, but he is there. Anyway, let's talk about The Bad Guys 2. I liked The Bad Guys 1 a totally normal amount. I especially liked Mr. Wolf a normal amount. With The Bad Guys 2, I especially doubly like Natasha Lyonne's Crow character a normal amount. I feel very normal things about her and what she puts in her mouth in this film, canonically. The story kind of cops out at the end, but that was true the first one too. These are kids' movies. They're not going to go all the way. It's sort of a disappointing ending for the film. I don't think it really earns the subject matter that it starts with, where it's like, hooray, we're criminals who have gone good and we saved the world and now we get to live morally upstanding lives, except that our only resume is doing crimes and nobody wants to hire us. So that's a really great subject matter, and the film doesn't really have the guts to follow that through to any of its logical conclusions. But that said, there's some great animation, some fun set pieces. I had a good time. I liked that there were 3 furry women. There's just some good fan service there, and listen, it's American animated media for children. We take what we can get. One battle after another. I didn't actually see this. I still haven't seen this. I don't know why I include it, because there's other movies that I haven't seen that are notable that I didn't include. I just think it's cool that Paul Thomas Anderson made another movie. I like Paul Thomas Anderson. I know that's a hot take in these troubled times. Not many people out here saying, oh, Paul Thomas Anderson, he made some good movies. There Will Be Blood. Wow, what an underrated gem. Yeah, so it's probably good. I don't know. I haven't watched it yet. So now we're moving on from movies to television shows. I'm going to start with long story short. I have not finished long story short, I still have 3 episodes left. As you can see from the poster, it says from the creators of BoJack Horseman, creator, sorry, singular. Yeah, so this is an animated sitcom question mark about this Jewish family across a period of like 30, 40 years. What I've watched so far is really emotionally affecting, a bit overwhelming, kind of terrifying, wonderful, amusing, and heartfelt. It's such a more personal story than BoJack Horseman, and I think it takes a lot of the best bits of BoJack. I don't know, it just feels more grounded. I have mixed feelings about BoJack. I still like it, but I have mixed feelings about it. I don't know. But I've been enjoying this show, I should say, because I haven't finished it. The way that it acknowledges COVID and the pandemic and life under the pandemic and people who actually wanted to take it seriously being abandoned is very admirable. Not a thing that you see a lot of these days. There's a lot of really good characterization and performances, and it's funny and also very emotional. Andor season 2. Of course, Andor season 2. It's good. You know Andor season 2 is good. Fuck off. School Spirits. Nobody knows about School Spirits. Do you know about School Spirits? Season 2. There was a lot of good season 2s this year. So School Spirits is a show that's like, what if Laura Palmer was the protagonist of Twin Peaks from the afterlife, and she had to solve her own murder? This is a show that has basically a non-existent budget using no-name actors, and it's all filmed entirely in this like high school and a couple of little locations around the town. No special effects. It's about some ghosts who, like, when they die at the school, their ghosts are stuck there forever. They can see everybody around them, but nobody that's alive can see them, and so it's them trying to cope. And then Maddie, the main character, dies and is trying to figure out her own murder from the afterlife, and her best friend can see her for some reason, and it just goes from there. This is a huge surprise. This show is such a huge surprise. You watch the first episode and there's some annoying tics with like all of the characters. Every single character with a name gets fleshed out in a really satisfying way. Everybody gets put under a microscope. Everybody gets their worst aspects like highlighted as if they're a villain. And then the show goes, now hold on, this is a human being, not a monster. And then it zooms out and we get the fuller picture. It's just consistently so good. It's so good. It's so much better than it has any right to be. I don't want to like oversell it in terms of like, you know, thematic weight or whatever, but just as a Buffy-esque sort of murder mystery that is young adult. It's sort of a young adult show. But for that, like, it's really solid, really great performances, well written, well shot. It's so competent. It's such a great testament to what is possible with a fucking low budget, with a low budget show. You don't need all this fucking money. You don't need all this fucking green screens. You can just turn on some red lights and make it look spooky, and that's it. It's good. Highly recommended. Season 3 is about to start. I'm very excited for that. Alien Earth, Season 1. I expected to hate this. I actually loved it because it is way less of an alien television show than it is a Blade Runner television show. Big surprise. The fact that this is an Alien sequel is so funny because besides it being sort of like Weyland-Yutani, like the main company that we spend our time with isn't even Weyland-Yutani. It's a new one that they invented for this show, and it's all about like corporate land wars between the 5 great corporations that run Earth, and also a ship full of aliens, only one of which is the xenomorph, and the xenomorph isn't even the most interesting one. There's a bunch of different aliens, and they are all fucked up in their own unique ways, and it's awesome. It's so good, and the show is edited in this really surreal style. It's made by Noah Not Baumbach. I don't know, I can never remember his name. He also did Legion, which I liked basically all of. People have really mixed feelings about Legion, and I guess I get it, but I loved it. I loved that it made me feel bad. I loved that it made me like a character who turned out to be a horrible piece of shit. Besides the second to last episode, I basically liked the whole thing. And this show is like off-putting and strange. It is the diametric opposite of whatever you might imagine the corporate wet dream of an Alien spin-off show. It is everything that Alien Romulus isn't, or rather everything that the worst of Alien Romulus isn't. It's just cool. It's interesting. It's good. I like where it's going. First season felt a little bit short. Seasons these days are way too short. I really wish it had like twice as many episodes, but that's where we are. Oh, I just remembered Severance season 2 was also this year, and I didn't even include it. Shit. Severance season 2. I liked it a lot. What do you want from me? Now we're going to talk about Peacemaker. I liked season 1. Season 2 is great. Season 2 is about how easy it is when you're a woke white guy to still benefit from Nazism without even realizing it. It's cool. I really liked it. I loved that they secretly made Eagly the most powerful character in the DC Studios universe. I think that's pretty fun. Okay, not the whole universe, in the show. Yeah, there's just a lot of great stuff. I love Adrian. He's so funny. Pluribus. Watched the first season. I liked it. How about this? It's overrated. I didn't like it. I think it sucks. That's what I'm going to say. I disagree with my own opinion there. I was fine. I enjoyed it. I want to see where the second half of the first season goes so they can finish their pitch for what the show is about before I come to any conclusions. But as a prologue to the rest of the show, which will presumably have things happening, I thought it was pretty good. No, I'm kidding. It was good. I actually really like the episodes where nothing happened, but I do feel that it's doing that kind of thing a little bit early. This is a problem that I have with a lot of modern television shows where they do the high concept, like, you know, season 3, oh, we're doing a musical episode, or we're doing an episode that's almost entirely silent, or whatever. They're doing that in like the first 6 or 7 episodes. That was a problem I had with Severance season 2, was that they had a couple of really interesting, like, breaking the formula episodes back to back to back. And that's like, I like those episodes quite a lot. It would be nice to have more of the other part of the show where it's just the show that you're used to first. Is Vince Gilligan overrated? We're not going to have that conversation today. Talamasca Secret Order. You didn't hear about this show, did you? Did you know that there is an entire Anne Rice cinematic universe happening right as we speak? There have been 2 seasons of Interview with a Vampire that are, in my opinion, basically perfect. I loved Interview. Season 3 is coming out this year. I'm so fucking excited because they're adapting The Vampire with Lestat. So they did another spin-off show that has 2 seasons called The Mayfair Witches, which is bad. It's not good. It's a bad show. I wanted to like it, and there are bits of both seasons that I like, but they both just like crash and burn. It's clear that the showrunners did not have anywhere near the reverence or respect for the source material as the showrunners of Interview did. But Talamasca is their 3rd show, and it is about the Talamasca, which is their own unique proprietary secret society of, I don't know, cops who deal with supernatural bullshit. This was such a surprise for me. I loved this. I loved Talamasca. I was not expecting to like it, especially after how bad Mayfair was. It's just a fun spy show about like a dude who can sort of read minds being thrust into the middle of this whole stupid situation with vampires. Jason Schwartzman shows up in the first episode as a really queenie gay vampire to get what's-his-face up here into the world of vampires and etc. All of the main characters give great performances. These three right here, they were all so much fun to watch. I hope this show gets another season because it was just a blast. I really enjoyed it. I think it was really underrated. Next, we're going to talk about the war between the land and the sea. I could basically say everything I just said about Talamasca, about the war between the land and the sea. I went into this expecting it to suck. This is a Doctor Who spin-off created by Russell T. Davis and co-written by Pete McTeague, is that right? Who wrote a couple of, let's say, controversial episodes of Doctor Who in its recent era. I went into this not knowing what to think, fully expecting it to be garbage, totally incomprehensible, probably up its own ass, very inadvisable. Turns out it's a lot of fun. Or not fun. No, it's not fun. It's basically like, what if the ocean had a representative to hold humanity to account for global climate change? And the basic premise of the show, I'm going to just spoil it because you're not going to watch it, is that humanity at large, internationally, would sooner do untold genocide to a recently discovered species with its own globe-spanning civilization than it would do anything about climate change. It is so much more cynical than I was expecting. And we get a lot of time with a character who's not on this poster named Kate Lethbridge-Stewart, who is personal favorite character. I love it when she shows up, even though I have mixed feelings about the modern Doctor Who's iteration of Unit. She's great. She steals the show every time she's on. The last scene of this show is her getting mad at a guy for littering, and it's awesome.
I said, pick it up. Pick it up! Pick it up!
Turn it off! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it!
There's There's a part where all of the fish people take all of the trash that's in the oceans and hurl it back on the land everywhere. There's just a lot of great stuff like that. A lot of lengthy scenes where they just sit in certain emotions in a way that is so much more restrained than we're used to seeing. It's not at a breakneck pace. It lets a lot of moments live. It really wants to take the stakes, the personal stakes of this story seriously, and I think it does so pretty successfully. Poker Face, Season 2. Is it a surprise at all that I loved Poker Face and that I also love Poker Face Season 2? I think Season 2 is even better than the first one. It breaks the concept and does a bunch of new stuff with it. It's just Columbo with Natasha Lyonne as Columbo, and she can tell when people are lying, and she uses that to solve murder mysteries on a week-to-week basis. There's a baseball episode that's really good. There's just a lot of really good episodes. I enjoyed the hell out of this show. Mixed feelings about Natasha Lyonne as a human person in real life these days because, you know, she went for the NFT thing, and now she's going for the AI thing, and it's getting harder and harder to say, well, she doesn't know. She's just, she's just going with whatever. She doesn't actually, it's getting harder and harder to give her that kind of excuse when she's like, still boosting this stuff even now. And the fact that they have recast her for Season 3 with Peter Dinklage, they're just sort of transforming the character. I guess the plan now is every 2 seasons, they've got a new person in to play Charlie Cale. I don't buy for a second that that was always the plan, and I'm sad to see Charlie Cale go. I don't love Peter Dinklage as an actor. I've never really loved Peter Dinklage as an actor. I'm sorry. I just don't know. I don't know. Anyway, so where are we at? It. Welcome to 4K Ultra HD. Why is that on there? We're not releasing this show on 4K Ultra HD. Grow up. Anyway, Welcome to Derry. It's fun. There's some good bits. The kids, they did a really good job. They're really good actors. There's some crap. I loved the military. Everybody is like criticizing the military subplot because it's like the US military wants to find warfare applications for the It monster. And I think that's awesome. Like, it is stupid. It is really dumb. And it's not very well executed in the show. And that's why I love it. I think it's so stupid and so funny. Is this show worth watching? Yeah, sure, fuck it. All right, now we are moving on to anime, and we're starting with Lazarus, which is the new Ken Watanabe show. I liked Lazarus. I think this was reviewed poorly. It is sort of like Adult Swim paid Watanabe to do another Cowboy Bebop. The idea is that there is a drug that came out that cured pain for everybody, and then it turned out that the drug is going to kill everybody, 3 years after they first took it. And so this group of people are part of the Lazarus Project, who are trying to find a cure for the drug problem before all of humanity dies. Is it a Cowboy Bebop? No, absolutely not. It doesn't have the budget to even approach the best of Cowboy Bebop. It does have some really good well choreographed fight scenes. They actually got, is it Chad Stileski, fight choreographer for the John Wick movies and director of some of them, I think. They got him in to do a bunch of choreography for the fight scenes in this, and it looks great. But there's an episode in the middle where this is like way in the future. The ice caps have melted. There's mass flooding or whatever. There's 3 of these characters who have to go to random points to try to see if there's evidence of the location of a guy. And they're all at points in the ocean. And there's just like a 20-minute section in this one episode where it just jumps between each of them. They're just sitting around like by the ocean, and none of them find anything what they're looking for. And they're just looking out at the ocean and going, is this what the planet used to look like? Is this what life was like before? Holy shit, man, we really fucked up. And it's just such a moving, emotional sequence that's so much more interesting than I thought that the show was ever going to get. I love it when a show like this gets away from the action and just hits you with a surprise humanity mallet. City D Animation. This is one of the most astonishing television animation productions ever. One of the most astonishing just animations. It's just gorgeous. I love the style. I'm constantly laughing. It made me cry. It's so good. It's so good. It's so unbelievably good. There is an episode that I'm sure everybody's talked about that has this whole like, what if Ang Lee's The Hulk just went completely crazy with the picture-in-picture comic book paneling type thing? It's so bananas. It's so cool. I loved City the Animation. Summer Hikaru died. This This is the reason I am willing to tolerate the presence and popularity of the horse girl game, Uma Musume. Summer Hikaru Died is by the same studio. They are funding the creation of good anime with their infinite horse girl money, and that's okay. Hey, as long as they keep doing it, I'm fine. This is a sort of yaoi, light yaoi. I'm sure there's a word for it. Like, obviously they don't have sex, but this kid Hikaru died and has been replaced by a weird freaky monster, but he still has Hikaru's memories, and Hikaru had an unrequited crush on his friend, and his friend had an unrequited crush on him. It opens with him immediately being like, "You're not Hikaru, are you? He's dead and you replaced him." And Hikaru's like, yeah, oops, sorry about that. And then the rest of the show is just him trying to decide if he can live with himself, if he doesn't like freak out, if he just accepts that this Hikaru just takes his place. It's great. It's so good. I'm sure there was other anime that came out this year that was good. Sounds like there was not a lot that was really good this year. And I don't watch a lot of anime, so this is a short list. We're going to move on to games. Wanderstop. Oh, I friggin' loved Wanderstop. New game from Davey Reedon and Carla Zamonja, sorry. I have written a script for a video about this. Maybe someday I will actually make a video about this. It just walks a perfect line between being a comfy game while still being a very personal and affecting story. And it has these sort of like time-wasting game mechanics that are exactly complicated enough to occupy your mind in a busy work sense, but simple enough that you can't spend tens and tens and tens of hours just optimizing or whatever. Like, it doesn't want you to optimize. It's just a really well thought out game. I loved it. I think everybody should play it. Next is The Knightling. Sorry, this poster looks like garbage. Nobody played this game, which is a shame because it's pretty good. I actually finished it last night. I didn't love the ending. I have sort of mixed feelings about the sort of end game, but I still really liked this. I feel like this is the type of game where, you remember back in like the N64 GameCube days where there would just be like a B+ game that came out that some of your friends talked about, and it was like, it wasn't one of the greats, but it wasn't bad either, and it had stuff that stuck with you, and you ended up playing it almost more than some of the really good games because it just did something really, really, really well that nothing else did. The Knightling is sort of an open world, it's a post-Zelda game, post-Breath of the Wild game, where you're running around, you have this shield that you slide on, and the movement system is great, and it's exactly big enough to feel like a world, but small enough that it's not gargantuan, sprawling nightmarescape. There's a lot of thought put into the environment in terms of how a society might actually exist in this place. There's a lot of agriculture, like a solid 80% of the opening 2 areas is just agriculture. And there's just a level of attention to the material, political economy of this world in terms of the world design, not necessarily in the actual narrative content, that I found really nice. And I liked it a lot. It felt like, at its best, what I always wanted Breath of the Wild to be. And in terms of the things that it doesn't quite get right, I can very clearly see that it's because they didn't have the time and money they needed to finish this thing, that they kind of had to kick it out the door. And I hope that it gets DLC or some kind of iteration, because this was a really special one for me. I enjoyed my time with it, and I think you should play it. Deltarune. Chapters 3 and 4 came out. I just sort of grabbed an art. I'm glad this one has the artist on there. I didn't really vet it. Yeah, Deltarune is good. Obviously, Deltarune is good. You gonna make me say it? Yeah, Deltarune is good. Who gives a shit? So 2025 also saw the release of Heatherflower's 2 new games. So one of them is Fish Fear Me, which is a sort of follow-up to Snake Farm from a few years back. I didn't play a ton of Fish Fear Me. Gameplay-wise, it's way more intense. There's a sort of an immediate skill ceiling in terms of the movement mechanics. I couldn't quite get all the way into it. If I spent more time in it, I absolutely could. But I really liked what was there. The other Heatherflower games is Unfair Flips, and I think that this, Northern Lion played the hell out of this game. This is one of the most important video games ever made because it distills everything down into the barest barest of essentials, which is just you're flipping a coin and you're trying to flip a coin heads up 10 times in a row. If you can get heads 10 times in a row, you win the game. And you start with a 30% heads probability. Each time you get heads, you get a little bit of money. You use that to buy your like level ups to where eventually, once you get all of them, you can get a 50% heads or tails split. Like the end of your upgrade tree is a normal coin. I guess there is another one that's like for a 60% heads chance, but it's like a much higher price range and I never bothered. There's other little things, but they're all kind of ornamental. And as you go, every once in a while, there'll be a little bit of narration that pops in. And it's basically saying like, we want to try to find patterns in these randomness. Like, you know, you're flipping it and it's like tails, 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 and you get a heads and you're like, okay, flip again. Oh my God, heads again. Flip again. Oh my God, heads again. And then it gets tails and you're like, ah, shit, what did I do wrong? And you're always trying to strategize. You're trying to find like, okay, how do I do this? How do I game the system? How do I maximize? And there's nothing. You can't do it. The game tells you there is no strategy. It's only probability. It is just numbers. But we can't fathom that. We can't fathom the fact that it's just numbers. So we just keep trying. We're just drawn into it. We want to find the strategy and there is none. And that is like all of gambling in video games. And now there's like a whole subgenre of unfair flips likes that are like, what if we did that, but we added more gameplay? What if we totally missed the message of this game and just did that more? Which I think is hilarious. And I think they all should pay Heather Flowers $10 million in reparations so that they can eventually make Meat Punks 3 or Last Days of Friendship Valley. Anyway, next game, South of Midnight. I never finished South of Midnight, but I was so entranced by it. Great art direction. It was totally unique story and setting and great performance. Just fantastic package. I didn't finish it. I want to finish it. The reason I didn't finish it is because it has the problem so fucking many games have right now where it just has this mandatory combat system and every single area is gated with these obnoxious, endless combat encounters. And I'm just so sick of it, man. I'm just so sick of it. I would love it if a video game could just have the confidence to not throw a toy at me every time it's worried that I'm getting bored. I loved South of Midnight anyway. Definitely deserves to be talked about way more than it has been. Squeakross. This is a Picross game, but you're a mouse, and the puzzles that you're doing give you pieces of furniture that you can place in your own little Animal Crossing type house. So it's like double duty. And it's really cute, and I am a Picross freak. I love playing Picross games. I actually have to stop myself from playing Picross because I can just sink hours and hours and hours into them. They're like the dumb girls Sudoku. Yeah, it's cute. It's a really cute little game. It's fun. If you like a little furniture manager that's low stress, Squeakross is your game. Hades 2. Wow, that's got watermarks all over it. Well, whatever. I played 10 billion hours of Hades 2 and I think it's just fine. I played it in early access and I put over 100 hours into it. It's just fine. It's all right. I mean, as a game, it's like, in a lot of ways, it's sort of perfect. There's just so much video game in this video game. It's arguably too much video game. And narratively, I just don't think that it lives up to its ideas. But I had fun playing it. I had a lot of fun playing it. It's a fun video game to play. Anyway, now we're going to move on to albums. Murder by Death, Ek and Dart. A few years ago, I made a video about their previous album, Spellbound, which I described as post-American Americana. I would not say that this follows exactly in that same trend. There's some of that. This is Murder by Death's final album. They've retired. They've gone on their farewell tour. I got to see them at the Crocodile in Seattle in October, and that was brilliant. Played a lot of my favorite songs. I've been a huge fan of Murder by Death for a long time. I wrote a novel called Good Morning Magpie, whose title was taken from and whose contents was very much inspired by the album of the same name, Good Morning Magpie. This album, I've come to like it a fair amount. The songs, like there's some really good songs. I can definitely tell why they've decided to step down, because like there's one song called Letter to the Editor. I'm putting words in their mouths. This is not at all what the lyrics say, but basically it's like, I trusted you, the New York Times, and now you're sending me this bullshit. I wish you would stop. And that's like a valid emotion, but this is the apocalypse, like four horsemen riding over the hill while cowboys shoot each other in the fucking Centralia, Pennsylvania type shit band. I don't know. In their last two albums, they've gotten closer and closer to to making like contemporary songs about contemporary issues. And that's been sort of their weakest stuff. And this is the closest they get to doing more of that. And I can see why maybe not the well running dry, but sort of like struggling to figure out how to be Murder by Death and talk about the world as it exists right now. Even still, this has some of my favorite songs that they've ever done. Black Velvet Cloak is beautiful, pitch perfect song. Car Seat Headrest, The Scholars. This is like a perfect album. This is a concept rock opera type thing, but in a completely different musical style than every other rock opera that you know. And the vinyl, there is a booklet that has a little intro and an illustration for each song. And it's just awesome. It's a story about people who each are at a moment of doubt and they're approaching someone that they have mixed feelings about for some kind of guidance, and in every case are receiving something different. It's about grace and forgiveness. There's a song about somebody who has been turbo canceled by their friend group who did actually fuck up, who calls the one person who doesn't hate them, and that person says, I don't agree with what you did, but I can't bring myself to believe that you don't deserve at least one person in your life who has your back. I don't believe that the grand total of who you are is the mistakes that you've made. It is a song that can only come from people who have lived through this cycle, social cancellation and the destruction of one's friend group when you've maybe actually hurt somebody, though this often happens with false accusations or very much overblown accusations. And I just think it's a very empathetic song on a very empathetic album that is of this moment in a way that is not cloying, it is not trying to be of this moment, it is just authentic to Will Toledo's personal experiences, and I really like it. Rebecca Sugar, Lonely Magic. This is a very short sort of concept album about her experience moving out to LA, going through sort of disillusionment and coming out stronger. I don't have a lot to say about it, besides the fact that I listened to this album and I remember, right, she's really good at making music though. There's a lot of shows these days who try to do like Steven Universe's infrequent musical numbers and they can't do it. They can't even come close because Rebecca Sugar actually knows how to write music. I would never say a bad word about Hazman Hotel. Next, we're going to talk about Vulfpeck, Clarity of Cal. I like Vulfpeck. This is such a good album. What do I even say? It's Vulfpeck. If you know about Vulfpeck, you know about Vulfpeck. If you don't, there's 10 million songs. Just find one. Jamie Paige released the Constant Companions Deluxe Edition. She does Vocaloid stuff, but she bends Vocaloids better than like anybody I've ever encountered. And this is an album about plurality, about her headmates, and I think that's pretty fucking cool. Really strong album. I think it's a bit long. It kind of bounces off of me in some places, but I just generally find the Vocaloid sound and like this sort of tradition of music. It's not over much my thing, but I still enjoy it. I still enjoy the vibes of the best songs. Also, the Mars Volta released a new album this year. My girlfriend got it for me for Christmas. I've listened to it a handful of times. I haven't really dug into it. It's good. It's a Mars Volta album. It's very different. It's breezy, breathy, a little bit jazzy, and I have nothing else to say about it because I haven't even come close to digging into like the lyrics or the subject matter or fucking anything else. It's the Mars Volta. You know? All right, now we're going to move on to YouTube videos that didn't suck in 2025. Action Button Pictures presents Los Angeles Noire. As you can see, this is a 9-hour and 40-minute YouTube video. This is a video that every YouTuber who has ever approached video games critically on YouTube has thought about making at least once. What if I reviewed a game in character, as a character sort of kind of within the universe. So Tim Rogers here is a private investigator looking into the veracity of the details of the various investigations that occur in the video game LA Noire as recorded in the book Los Angeles Noire, which doesn't exist in real life. It's astonishing in terms of its commitment to the bit. It manages to critique the game very directly, very pointedly, without ever acknowledging the fact that it's a video game, without ever breaking character or stepping away from the bit. It's so impressive. It is 9 hours and 40 minutes long. Don't dare try to watch it in one sitting, or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. You gotta spread that shit out. I love action button reviews. I think these are some of the best video essays that anybody has ever made. I aspire to even approach the level of scripted virtuosity that Tim Rogers accomplishes. It's cool. It's good. I hope that we don't have to wait quite so long for the next one. Drew Gooden, Greed is Destroying the World. Drew Gooden is one of those, he's like, him and Eddie Burback and the Burback twins and like a couple of other people in that sphere are like YouTubers that I sort of see every once in a while. I wasn't subscribed to them for a long time. I just see their videos and it'd just be like, here's a dumb thing that I react to. Whoa! And I think I got on the train whenever they did the going to all of the rainforest cafes. Something that I have tried to pay attention to is like really normie YouTubers slowly getting radicalized in a big way. And this is a huge one where this is just straight up Drew Gooden being like, all right, let's cut this shit. Capitalism is fucking everything up. It's so clear-eyed and on point and well put together. I've liked a lot of Drew Gooden's recent stuff, and this one is saying very much out loud a lot of things that he's been saying sort of not necessarily under his breath, but sort of subtextually or contextually in his other videos. Yeah, this one was really good. Henry Kathman, Holes and America's Curse, 95,000 views. I didn't actually see that. That's good for you, Henry. Yeah, this is a really, really strong video about holes, where our man Henry here, oh wait, are you they? Oh, I'm so sorry if I got your pronouns wrong. Where Henry, as I bump my microphone, Henry is out here digging holes out in the wherever, like actually under the sun, while recording the video. The audio is not the best in places, but the analysis is pitch perfect. It actually got me to go rewatch Holes, and I forgot that movie was actually pretty good. Yeah, this is a video you absolutely should watch. Full-time Secret Base, John Boy's. This series rules. It's about the history of the Victorian internet by way of telegraph wires, and in particular, the attempt to connect the North American continent with the European continent. And the third episode retells the story of the voyages that eventually laid down the wire that would connect the continents. And it is thrilling. I couldn't stop thinking about it. This section where they're talking about the voyage, I went back and rewatched it immediately. It was in my brain for like 3 days straight. It's so good. This series is so good. John Boy's just been on a roll with his like non-sports pretty goods. This one's great. It's a history of the Victorian internet that is also simultaneously a very well articulated criticism of the 90s sitcom Home Improvement. And how do you come up with that? How do you come up with that conceit and then execute on it so well? Also, don't pay attention to any like progress bars that you may or may not see in any of these screenshots. A lot of these I will have watched all the way through and then gone back and looked at other bits and pieces. Some of them I've watched on different accounts. So don't draw conclusions from that. Next, just Angela Collier. For the concept of Angela Collier, I discovered her in 2025, and she's immediately become one of my favorite YouTubers. One of the things that I'm very enthusiastic about that I don't really ever talk about anywhere is that I am a big space nerd. Carl Sagan literally changed the course of my life when I was a teenager, when I discovered his books and obviously Cosmos, the television show. I love astrophysics. I just think she's really good. She's very on point when it comes to AI and tech, and she has very well articulated criticisms of capitalism. Really great stuff. You should go watch Angela Collier if you haven't watched her. Seattle Traffic Cam. This is another channel just generally that I've just come to really like because it just compiles crashes caught on Seattle traffic cams. And as an urbanite who does not own a car and relies exclusively on public transit, I love this person's channel. I think it's a lot of fun to watch. I like watching people get into car crashes because they're bad at driving, because everybody is bad at driving. Okay, Caleb Gamman. Right. Yeah, Caleb Gamman didn't really release much in public, but he does have a second channel that has a lot of private videos on it. So unlike everybody else who has a Patreon where you can subscribe and get access to their like bonus stuff, Caleb Gamman runs his thing on his own website. So you have to subscribe to him on his website and give him money to access his like bonus stuff. And he releases a new like bonus video every week, like on the dot. And his like main feed is just like empty. And his analysis is so good. There's so many videos that he has posted on his private feed that I've been like, dude, I want to cite this. I want to fucking cite this. This is so insightful. So I highly recommend giving him a couple bucks on his website, calebgamman.com, and going to watch some of his stuff. He has some really interesting commentary on AI as somebody who thinks it sucks and also uses it in a very limited fashion. I don't agree with all of his opinions, but I value his perspective, and I think he's generally on the right side of things. And I don't know. I like his analysis. I think he's good, and I hope he can put together some more main feed stuff in the future. What else we got here? Oh yeah, Elliot Sang stopped doing main channel videos for a while. Now he's got a second channel where he's just doing, these are like clips from his streams where he's just analyzing recent trends. And I just think Elliot Sang is a very cogent and incisive commentator on the moment that we are in right now. I really appreciate his perspective, and I like watching his stuff. Oh yeah, Dead Air Films. This is a film, a video about Abbas Kiarostami's Close-Up that is so good. This is a creator you should absolutely go subscribe and watch the rest of her stuff, because there's just a lot of underrated analyses going on her channel. And as a huge fan of Abbas Kiarostami, this actually gave me insights into that film that I totally didn't know about, which surprised me because I thought I knew everything, you know? So yeah, go watch that. Alex and Cracker's Mole Mania, the Nintendo franchise that wasn't. This is also a really good visual. Again, don't pay attention to the progress bar. I promise I've watched it all the way through. I have I have a blog called The Video Essay Review where I review video essays. I've not been as consistent with it as I should have been, but I did do a roundup where I talked about this one. I think Alex and Crackers has some really great stylistic flourishes. There's a good high production value for what's clearly fairly low budget equipment, cool practical overlays, and just lots of different stuff. I really like her stuff. I've recently discovered her work, and I think you should definitely check it out. This video is a lot of fun. It's about Mole Mania, and a big part of what this one is doing is deconstructing how much emphasis we put on Shigeru Miyamoto when we talk about Nintendo games, like even games that he meddled in and ruined. As a Star Fox fan, I am always excited to get mad at Miyamoto for ruining Dinosaur Planet and giving us Star Fox Adventures. I almost said Stairfax Temperatures. I can't make that reference. And the perspective here is that the reality is just a lot more nuanced than that, and that we should be a little bit better in our criticism to not just fall into vulgar auteurism. Yeah, really good analysis. Criminally underwatched. You should go check it out. Oh, Trans Day of Vanishing by Lily Alexandre. This one is incredible. This is an astonishing work of art. There's a section somewhere around here or here where she's at a protest and shit happen. It's just, this is the aspect ratio. She's done videos in the past where she's done 4:3, which is something I've obviously played around with, but this one is like, it's not 16:9, it's like CinemaScope. This is a video about like the question of, in a time of political oppression, should we or shouldn't we disappear as trans people? And there's a crowd of people who will hear that pitch and go, well, obviously the answer is no. And like, yeah, obviously the answer is no. Watch the fucking video. This is a totally unrelated rant, and it doesn't even really apply to this. I have been making an effort to, whenever I see a YouTube video that has a thumbnail and a title that is really obviously clickbait, that gives me the reaction of, that's such fucking clickbait. That looks so obviously the answer is blah, 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 blah. When I encounter one of those that gives me that reaction, I click it, and I give it a watch for the first 5 to 10 minutes just to see. And like 9 times out of 10, y'all, it's a good video. It's actually a good video. Hey, remember that phrase, don't judge a book by its cover? Yeah, it kind of applies to videos too. Everybody knows intellectually, and I'll even say this, that we're all slaves to the algorithm. You gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta play into the clickbait things. You don't necessarily want to, but you've gotta do what you can to get the algorithm's attention or whatever. They'll say this, and then at the same time, they'll look at a video that is trying to play the game that you've acknowledged nobody wants to play, but that we have to, and go, well, that's stupid. That looks like crap. And then they'll write threads or blogs or just whatever, being like, oh, I can't believe that there was, and then not even watch the fucking video. And then you watch the video and chances are it's fine, if not good. I've discovered a couple of pretty good YouTubers that way. Give more stuff like that a shot, I think, personally. Anyway, Train State of Vanishing, good video. Man Bad Horror, Infinite Snow Productions. This is just a really fantastic video essay about a particular genre of horror done by men, hypothetically for men, where the message is men are bad. I really like Jordan Delaney's other stuff. Fantastic video essays, very, very funny. You should absolutely give these a watch. Oh, the concept of Annie Austin. Listen, this guy's getting millions of views. He doesn't need me to boost him, but I found him this year. It's funny to encounter this guy before he was like huge and be like, oh, these are fun little videos. It's like, oh, let's do a survey of all the people who live in Skyrim and find out what the employment rate in Lavender Town or whatever. And now these videos are huge, and it's spawned an entire subgenre of YouTube where everybody is trying to do this particular kind of like autism posting about video games. And I think that's pretty cool, actually. I think that's a pretty nice trend. I like this trend. I like these videos. Yeah, Annie Austin's a good egg. So now we're going to move on to podcasts. I discovered the Will of the Council podcast in 2025. And this is a show where it's just 3 like Yu-Gi-Oh streamers. I have a friend who's really into Yu-Gi-Oh who told me about this podcast. I don't go to card games at all, but they told me about this one episode where they're talking about boy moms, and I listened to it and I was like laughed my ass off and thought it was great, and immediately went and listened to a bunch of other episodes. And now this is like appointment listening for me. I listen to every single episode religiously because it's just these 3 dudes first doing like a little news section and then reading 3 Reddit posts of like am I the asshole posts and judging for themselves whether or not the person in question was an asshole or what were wrong or whatever. And they're just so funny and actually give genuinely pretty good advice, especially for like cis straight dudes. One of them is bisexual. It's just good. I just really enjoy this podcast. It's a lot of fun. Oddity Roadshow, also something I discovered this year. Discover is maybe putting it. I knew about this show. I think it's a Monster of the Week podcast. I can't remember what system they're using, but it's just 3 friends in a weird van going around and dealing with freaky monster stuff. It's just funny, and I love this group of people's approach to the actual play podcast. I don't really give a shit about TTRPGs. I'm not a TTRPG person. Everybody thinks I would be, but I just don't. I've just never enjoyed them. I'm sorry. I've just never enjoyed TTRPGs. And I sort of, after the Adventure Zone season 2 was over, I was sort of over actual play podcasts too, but I listened to Critical Bits because I enjoyed it. And then Oddity Roadshow, I enjoyed even more because they're not afraid to be like, it's not afraid to be an adult show set in the modern world. It's making commentary about the modern world, but it's also surreal and weird. Lots of failed roles with big dumb consequences. It's just an enjoyable podcast, and I'm still catching up. I'm still getting caught up. I don't think I've even listened to any episodes that came out in 2025. So the other podcast is Survey Program, a podcast about deltarune. This is a podcast by my friend Kate that is a show where every episode is a different subject related to deltarune. I've been on one bonus episode now that was about Doctor Who. I'll probably guest on an actual episode eventually whenever I come up with a pitch that I want to talk about. But yeah, this is a great show. Kate is a fantastic podcaster. I co-hosted a show with her a while back. I think she's just a really good radio host, and I'm so glad that she's back into the habit. Okay, now we're going to move into other stuff. So, There Is No Anti-Memetics Division. Quantum this year released a revised version of There Is No Anti-Memetics Division with all the references to the SCP Foundation taken out and replaced with something else. So if you don't know, There Is No Anti-Memetics Division is an SCP story about ideas that are self-censoring. I don't want to go into all the details. I love Anti-Memetics Division. It's had a huge influence on me. If you've read Godfield, feels, you definitely can see the influence there. And this new version is basically the same. It's been dramatically rearranged, and I think in a way that is better overall in terms of like conveying the narrative. And it's had a lot of stuff, a lot of the weirdest stuff sort of taken out and replaced with things that are slightly more grounded. And I think there have been enough little changes to bring out the subtle political commentary that I always felt was like boiling under the surface of the original, but wasn't able to come out. It's even more so present here. It's been brought out in a big way, and I really enjoyed this. Chainsaw Man. I think we're only a couple issues now away from the end of the second arc of Chainsaw Man. There was also the Resi arc movie. I haven't watched it yet, so that's not on here, but I just have to throw out that like Chainsaw Man is so fucking good. It's unbelievable how good it is. Asta, the sort of main character of what I call Chainsaw Man 2, is the only character who could ever possibly be the narrative opposite to Denji. I love her so much. She sucks so bad. They're perfect for each other. And the way that this arc concludes, or is in the process of concluding, is insane. It's so crazy what's going on in this fucking story. There's a bit that involves the use of the national anthem that made me sick to my stomach. Tatsuki Fujimoto, not a man who is fond of the United States of America. I'll just say that. You should, if you haven't read Chainsaw Man, you gotta read Chainsaw Man, dude. This shit's so good. What do we got here? Oh, Deaf Crocodile as a concept. So you've probably heard of the Criterion Collection. You may have heard of Arrow Video. These are boutique video imprints that license films for distribution on physical media. Over the last 10, 15 years maybe, there has been a boom in other boutique video imprints. There's so many of them. I highly recommend going to diabolicdvd.com to see what's out there because there's so much. It's crazy. Deaf Crocodile is a fairly recent entry into that field, and they are very much my favorite now. They're my favorite because they focus, you wouldn't guess it from this collection of movies, but they focus almost exclusively on like obscure Eastern European animated film. That's like their specialty. And then there's just a lot of other like Eastern European stuff. They're about to come out with their third collection of Soviet animation, the first two of which are just incredible stuff. Also relatively affordable, you know, $35. This is for the deluxe edition of White Sun of the Desert, you know. That's not nothing, but for a deluxe edition, you look at like other things, and this is like, you know, hardcover slipcase with a booklet and a Blu-ray with special features. $35 for that. That's really not that bad. And like they do an annual sale where like their standard editions are like $15. That's insane. That's insane. They're like crazy affordable for what they do. What else we got? Oh yeah, Homestuck.com. After years of being mismanaged by Viz, the current stewards of the Homestuck project have finally finished re-releasing Homestuck. And now Homestuck.com works. You can go to Homestuck.com and read Homestuck even on a mobile, even on your mobile phone in a way that you couldn't before. It's so cool that they did this. I'm so glad that they did this because now it means that you don't have to download the unofficial Homestuck collection as your only port of call to acceptably read the comic. And I'll just add as a separate note that the revival of Homestuck Beyond Canon and the current group of people in charge of the post-canon project, I have a very long history with this, well, not that long. I have a very particular history with this project, and I was geared up to be very cynical about this when it started, but they have been nothing but pleasantly surprising, and I think they've done a fantastic job of stewarding this project and to steer it away from controversy even when it is propped up. I think they have good heads on their shoulders, and they have been doing a really good job of rescuing Homestuck from the prison of its worst detractors. What else we got after Homestuck? Let's see. Yes, I made a music video for Molly Noise. I don't think that sucked at all. Probably gonna do some more of those one of these days. That was a good thing that happened in 2025 that I enjoyed. What else happened in 2025? Oh yeah, the Seattle Mariners almost made it to the World Series. I've got a very lengthy script that I've written up that is like barely even started actually. about my feelings about baseball and why I care about sports and why I think other people should care about sports. And there's a video on my second channel that's just called Why You Should Care About Sports or something like that. Yeah, this guy right here, Cal Raleigh, big dumper, had an unbelievable historic season, best catcher in history, my MVP of 2025. Being a fan of the Mariners in 2025 was a beautiful, painful, cathartic experience. I'm so glad that I got to have that experience, and that I don't have to be a fair weather fan, that I get to be a fan at a time when they almost won and then did not. I don't get the easy way in of like every other Mariners fan who's been a fan of them for years and years and years, has lived with this iteration of the team forever, and then I get to be a fan and suddenly they get into the World Series. I'm glad that didn't happen because it means that I get to suffer, and I like suffering. I think suffering is the spice of life when it's for fun. Not when I'm actually suffering physically or mentally because the world is melting. Where is this supposed to be? Oops, this is supposed to be later. Well, whatever. This is something, there's another category that's things that didn't come out in 2025, but that I experienced for the first time in 2025. John Carpenter's Lost Themes albums. You know, he's just making albums with his son and another guy that are just like music from movies that don't exist. They're so good. They're really good albums. I listen to the hell out of them. What else we got here? Oh yeah, so other things that didn't suck in 2025. Zoran Mamdani and Katie Wilson both became mayors of their respective cities, New York City and Seattle, Washington. Capitalists and liberals are seething, and I think that's delicious. It's been wonderful to watch. You know, we're still very early on in their administration, so we'll see how it goes, but it's cool. I think the winds are turning. I think there is a lot of reason to be hopeful for the future under certain circumstances. It was pretty cool. Pretty fucking cool that they both won and that everybody that I hate is mad about it. Let's see. What else happened in 2025? Dick Cheney died. That was pretty cool. Died on the same day Mamdani won his election. That was pretty cool. Something happened to Charlie Kirk. I thought that was pretty cool. Everybody hates AI. It's totally failing and nobody likes it. I think that's pretty cool. Everybody who's using it is a free user who is never, ever, ever going to pay a single bloody cent for these services that don't work and suck. And I think that's awesome. And I can't wait for the economy to fucking blow apart like a beached whale. What else? Oh yeah, so final stuff. Yeah, Natsuman. This is a Breath of the Wild like from some of the people who made Boku no Natsuyasumi, which is a game that Tim Rogers talked about in one of his Action Button reviews. It's basically a game where you have 1 month in the summer and every day is a day and you go around and you do things, and it's just delightful. It's such a delightful little game. It's like, what if there was no combat in Breath of the Wild? It's everything I ever wanted from that type of game. Impeccable vibes. I should probably finished it. I probably played too much of it. She is Conan. Watched this as part of our Ghost Watch 2025 stream. Those vlogs will be coming out sooner or later. And I talk about that one in that video, so I won't talk about it too much here, but this is a gender-swapped version of the Conan the Barbarian myth about various versions of this woman's incarnation throughout different time periods. And it's brilliant. It's one of my favorite movies. This one's also Sword and Sorcery. It's one of my favorite movies that I watched last year, and I can't stop thinking about it. I fucking loved this movie. Oh yeah, I started reading the culture novels. I read Consider Phoebus and The Player of Games. Really great books. I definitely preferred Player of Games, but you should probably read Consider Phoebus first. Consider Phoebus is very madcap and not really about the culture as such. It's more sort of around the culture, which is a human civilization that's like post-scarcity, communist utopia type situation. My one big caveat for Consider Phoebus is that there's like a 25-30 page chapter. This is a fairly lengthy book. Somewhere in the first, in the middle, that involves like a grotesquely fat cannibal character, and it's just like nonstop fat phobia for just like that length of time. That section sucks. But the rest of the book is fantastic, and then Player of Games start to finish is wonderful novel. I don't know what I can say about them more at length. You just have to look them up and check them out. These books rule. What else we got? Oh, I started watching Deadwood for the first time. Y'all ever watch Deadwood? I'm only like 2 episodes into season 2, so I'm still fairly early on. on. But dang, Ian McShane, that guy's got a face. That guy likes to act. He's pretty good. There's a lot of good stuff in this show. It is very funny how they only have one cuss and it's cocksucker. I do think it would be nice if they were able to cuss in different ways. Apparently that they did originally have more period accurate slang in the text, and then they were worried that would come off as too silly sounding, and so they made it sound more modern, and I think that was the wrong call. But still, it was a good show. I'm enjoying it so far. Oh, my girlfriend and I watched For All Mankind, alternate history show where the Russians beat us to the moon. First season, really good. Second season, a little bit mixed, but overall pretty good. Season 3, fantastic. Season 4, dog shit. But it's still worth watching. Season 4 isn't dog shit. It's just meh. It's just kind of lame. It sort of misses what's fun about the whole conceit. And it also, by trying to tell a more materialist story, it reveals the political predilections of its creators in a way that they can't hide behind the era anymore. Each season jumps 10 years into the future, so it's sort of following on the increasing cascade effects of this alternate history. It's good. I've really enjoyed it. You know, I've found season 4 to be pretty disappointing. Now there's going to be a fucking spin-off show about Star City. I can't wait to see how else they can be wrong about the Soviet fucking Union, but whatever. Okay, so For All Mankind, what else we got? Oh yeah, the band formerly known as the Dixie Chicks. I discovered that they released an album in 2020 called Gaslighter. Really good album. Yeah, I don't really have much else to say about it besides the fact that it was a good album. Let's see. Oh yeah, Foxy Shazam. This is the band that did the song that they used for the title sequence of Peacemaker Season 2. And I like that song. And there's another song of theirs that they featured in a later episode. I like those songs so much that I went and started listening to their music. And this album rules. This album is a lot of fun. You should check this album out. I dig a bit of modern glam rock. We got anything else? Well, okay, we got one more thing. I got one more thing that I gotta get off my chest. And then we're gonna call it good for the rest of our lives here. The best thing that I found in 2025 that I can't stop thinking about.
Good afternoon. I come before you today to address the recent allegations about my behaviour. Now, I just want to give you a fair warning. This is an alarming image we're about to look at. Are we ready? Everyone? Chris? Susie?
Show it!
Okay. Next slide, please. I realise this doesn't look good for me. Even I was fooled at first. However, if you examine it very... next slide, please. Thank you. If you examine it very closely, it's actually just a photorealistic drawing made in MS Paint. Next slide. So, in conclusion... Oh, it looks like we have a question. Yes. Susie?
So... you smoke weed, right?
No, Susie. As we just discussed...
You're doing it in the photo.
Yes, we've been over this. It's a fabrication. The photo isn't real.
But I'm looking at it.
Chris, please explain to her. Tell her I haven't smoked weed. Chris, tell her. Chris, I haven't smoked weed. I've never smoked weed, Chris. I don't smoke weed. Chris, I don't smoke weed.
All right, everybody. Thank you for watching this YouTube video. I hope it was good. Good luck in 2026.